Your signature style isn't found in a category. It's created through understanding the principles that guide your choices. In today's episode, I'm talking about maps versus labels, both in personality systems and in style systems. You've probably experienced this. You get typed as something, you follow the recommendations, and somehow you still don't feel like yourself. That's because a label tells you what you are, but a map shows you how to navigate. I'll share how I use personality typing as a navigation tool instead of as a box, and how the same principle applies to developing your signature style. We'll talk about why most style systems give you labels when what you actually need is a map. And I'll show you what changes when you understand the principles behind your personal style instead of just following category rules. I want to tell you about a decision I made recently that shows how this works. So, somebody offered me to do some paid work doing house cleaning, and I had the time for it. And honestly, I'm in the middle of a little bit of a kitchen emergency remodel. So I could really use the money. But I said no, and I felt completely settled about it. No guilt, no second guessing, no wondering if I made the right call. Here's what was different. I had a process for making the decision. I checked in with my internal logic. Objectively, I'm not great at house cleaning. It's not an efficient use of my skills or time. That's just the practical reality. Then I checked in with my values. I believe deeply that everyone should operate in their giftedness. That's collectively how we meet our goals best, when each person is doing what they're uniquely good at. That is a core conviction for me and why I do what I do, helping women mostly to discover their giftedness, be comfortable expressing it, and show it to the world. So, when I considered both my practical reality and my core values, the decision was clear and grounded. Now, here is where the map versus label idea comes in. So most people know their personality type kind of as a label. A lot of people know, oh yeah, I took that one and I had 4 letters, but I don't remember what they are. So, or some people maybe know their Enneagram or remember that it was a number, but don't remember what it was. So like I'm an ENFJ or I'm a type 4. And that's fine as far as it goes, but it doesn't help you navigate your life until you understand how your mind is wired to process information and can start to use it as a map. So, in personality typing, there are 4 ways that your mind needs to function. You need to be able to take in information, you need to evaluate that information or make decisions. You need to connect to your inner world and you need to engage with the outer world. Everyone needs all 4 of these, but we each have different strengths and different blind spots in how we do it. Some people naturally make their decisions based on external factors like what works, what's efficient, what creates harmony with other people, and those are valid considerations. But if that's your default, you might actually have a blind spot like I do around checking in with your internal factors, your personal logic, and your core values. So that's why those were the things that I needed to check in with to make a balanced decision. Other people, that's natural for them. They naturally decide based on their internal factors. What makes sense to them? What aligns with their values? Also valid. But they might need to intentionally check in with external reality. What actually makes things happen in the real world? What impacts other people? So the map approach to personality typing helps you understand which of these modes is going to come naturally to you, which requires more intentional attention. And when you know that, you can just make more balanced decisions. And that's what happened with my house cleaning decision. I'm someone who naturally focuses on external factors. I see what needs to be done. I think about what works for everyone who's involved. So I have to be intentional about checking in with my own internal logic and my values. Once I had that map of how I can make decisions, I could navigate that choice with confidence. Um, and some of those things had already been decided before the question came up. So the same kind of thing happens with style systems. Most style systems give you a label. You're a spring, you're a dramatic classic, you're a type 4. And then they give you a list of recommendations that go with that label. Wear these colors, choose these silhouettes, avoid these patterns. And you try to follow the recommendations, but maybe something feels off. Maybe the colors are technically right, but they don't feel like you. Maybe the silhouettes work on paper, but you feel like you're wearing a costume. That's the worst. So you follow the rules, but you still don't feel confident, like you're bringing yourself into everything. That's because the label approach doesn't actually teach you how to navigate your own choices. It tells you what category you fit into, but it doesn't give you the tools to make the decisions that feel right for your specific life, your specific body, and your specific personality. A style map is different. It helps you understand the principles behind the recommendations so you can make your own navigation decisions. Think about color, for example. A label says, you're a spring, so wear peach and coral and warm yellows. A map approach says, your coloring has these specific characteristics, this level of contrast, this undertone, this intensity. When you understand these principles, you can evaluate any color and know whether it's going to work with your natural coloring. Same thing happens with body design. A label approach is going to say, you're romantic, so wear soft, rounded shapes. A map approach says your body has these proportions, these curves. When you understand the principle of repetition or visual echo, you repeat what's already there, then you can look at any garment and know whether it's going to harmonize with your structure. Personality works the same way. Label approach says you're an ENFJ, so you should dress in a polished, put together way. A map approach says you make decisions by considering what creates harmony and what impacts people. Understanding that about yourself helps you choose clothes that let you show up the way you naturally operate in the world. If you want to explore how different personality patterns connect to style choices, I have a free guide to design psychology that breaks this down. It shows how each cognitive function creates a different style vibe and which personality types use those functions. It's a great introduction to using personality as a map instead of a label. You can find the link in the show description or at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. So when you understand the principles, everything changes. You're not asking yourself, what should a spring wear? You're asking, does this color harmonize with my natural coloring? You're not asking, what does a dramatic classic look like? You're asking, does this silhouette create visual balance with my body's proportions? And you're not asking what's appropriate for my personality type. You're asking, does this feel congruent with how I naturally show up in the world? Those are completely different questions, and they lead to completely different closets. My clients often come to me wanting to know their kitty type or their color season. They're looking for a label. And I understand that impulse. Labels feel like answers. But through our work together, what happens is they develop something more valuable. They develop a feel for the vibe they want to achieve. They learn the specific artistic techniques that create that vibe for their unique combination of coloring, structure, and personality. They create their own map. So here's how to start creating your map. Do you want to move from collecting labels to creating your own navigation system? You start with understanding your cognitive wiring. That's the foundation. When you know how you naturally show up, make choices, and learn, and where your blind spots are, you can approach every style decision with more clarity. And that's what we do in the congruence code. We have a personality profiling conversation that reveals how you make your best decisions naturally and what might be your blind spots. It's not at all about putting you in a box. It's about giving you a map of your own internal territory so you can navigate confidently. Then we align your colors with your energy through a seasonal energy palette. But it's not just here are your colors, it's here's why these colors work for your specific energy and coloring. You understand the principles so you can expand and make your own choices. Understanding the principles behind your signature style, not just your category, is the most effective way to make confident wardrobe decisions. Here's something simple you can do this week to integrate these principles into your wardrobe. Think about a recent style decision where you felt uncertain. Maybe you were going to an event and you wanted to wear something specific, but you chickened out at the last minute. Or maybe you bought something that looked great on the hanger, but you never wear it. Then ask yourself these questions as you're journaling. What made that decision feel uncertain? Were you following a label without understanding the principle? And what do you need to know about yourself to navigate that decision more confidently next time? This reflection can help you decide where you need more map and less label. And if you want help creating that map, check out the congruence code. You can find the link in the show description or at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. Thanks for being here for the Signature Style Systems podcast. Have fun being you, and I will meet you back here again real soon.